What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is Saturday, I believe, March 10th, March the 10th. This is weekend rewind number 6 on a pretty like not warm, but it's definitely a mild day here in Prince Edward Island. We got a like our usual panel today. Joining us first. He was on it's on last week for the our big one with Friday joining us. Timothy TM Smith. Tim, how are you doing, man?
Pretty good, pretty good. Nice cold one here as well. Nice cold one here in my glass.
I wish I soon I will be joining you in the cold beverage alcohol department. Joining us today is all as well, making his debut, I believe, in the weekend rewind. You saw him compete earlier this week in the team match. That would be Seed Up himself, Christopher Woodburn. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. It's lukewarm here in Baltimore, and happy to be on the show. Thanks for having me.
That's awesome. Well, how the rewind works for anybody who's joined us. First of all, if you're new to the show, welcome. Thanks for joining Jack of All Trivia. I'm sure you'll be seeing a lot of our content as we post about 5 to 6 days a week. And how the show works is we just kind of go over the Jack of All Trivia matches that we've had this week, as well as the Schmodown, and we take any questions. Sort of a laid back kind of approach. So we have a pretty stacked week. Um, we have a match from every division that we have to cover. So this is actually pretty exciting. Um, so normally we get into Jukebox Mondays, but before that, we get to talk about TV trivia for the first time in the weekend rewind. TV trivia made its triumphant return. We saw match number one of the semifinals where we had the Titan Chance Ellison defeat the newly El Lobo Jim Green in a pretty close match. Round one was kind of low scoring, but then round two, I know Chance got kid movies, and then Jim got animation, and then round three was just really where the punches were thrown. Definitely back and forth, but Chance is able to edge out Jim. Let's go to Tim. He's kind of the head honcho over there. What were your thoughts on this match as TV trivia made its return to Shackleball trivia?
Well, yeah, after a while, it finally made its return. That was a good thing. Um, like you said, with round one, it kind of is always low scoring, so it's not really surprising. And round two is, yeah, both of them got categories they surprisingly did well in, and then round three, it happens sometimes. The later you get in round three, when you get down to those characters to get that show, sometimes you know it, sometimes you don't, and it happens. And unfortunately, Jim couldn't pull it out, but Chance was able to, so he'll move on to the championship match.
Yeah, absolutely. So now I take it over to Woodburn here for a second. Now Woodburn, Chance, the winner of this match, he gets to take on the winner of, I believe, Mark Borick and Haven Pendergast. If you were Chance, who do you want to face in these finals? Would you rather Mark, who I believe is a little more animated heavy, or do you want someone like Haven, who, like me personally, I don't know what Haven's like true strength is, but I think he's pretty well rounded.
Yeah, I mean, I think honestly, I would rather face Haven. I just think that Mark is may have a little bit more knowledge. I'm not sure, like you said, what Haven's strength is. So I think I would rather face Haven because Mark. I mean, if you want a better battle, I'd want to face Mark because I think it would be a tougher matchup. But you can't go wrong with either.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know. That's understandably so. It's going to be an exciting one. I'm looking forward to the Mark Haven one. I know I believe in the prediction challenge where the winner possibly could have won a $50 Amazon gift card. I had Mark defeating Sandy. Unfortunately, that is impossible because Sandy had to drop out. Wish Sandy the best of luck as he is recovering from surgery. But I still think Mark has a good chance. Um, it'll be tough against Haven. And then like once even come out the chance, like he is the current IC champion, a strong contender in movies. So the guy is a pretty big noggin in terms of pop culture. Um, So with that, let's move on over to Monday, Jukebox Trivia, and that was a match and a half. We had two debuts, and the Butcher, Luca Hope Fallon Madden taking on the comic book lad, Grant Gregory. Um, to put a long story short, they broke the game. A high scoring match, 79 to 76. They got over 120 answers in the Ramones for round two. And even take away round two. Round one, I believe this round one the score was 7-6. Luca was a fluke away from having a perfect round, and then even Grant to get I believe he went 3 for 3 in round three, but then Luca getting that big win, nailing his 6 pointer. So now I go to Woodburn. Woodburn with championship coming up in Jukebox pretty quickly. We've gotten to see a fair chunk of competitors from December until now. What were your thoughts on the match in general, and then who are your front runners to take the inaugural Jukebox championship?
Well, I didn't actually get to watch the entire match. I did watch some of it. I got busy with some other things. But what I did watch, it was fantastic. I mean, Grant, this man is amazing. I mean, he's killed in movie trivia, and I was amazed at what he knew in jukebox. Like he is my front runner when it comes to anything from this day forth. Like he's been unstoppable. So yeah.
What are your I know obviously with the Ramones, were you surprised that those were both that was a band that was in both competitors' wheelhouse, or is Ramones one that's like everybody should know?
Honestly, I'm not well versed in jukebox outside of rap and R&B music. Ramones, I've heard of them, but I couldn't tell you one song title of theirs.
All right. So now we go over to Tim. Tim, you had the great pleasure of editing this video. This is actually I believe this is the first jukebox video that had that intro that Kane designed. That's really fucking cool. I think I'll try and get that on as much as we can. And what are your thoughts on this match that included your stablemate Grant in the Apocalypse faction?
One, fuck you for how long of a video that was to edit.
Yep.
But honestly, for round two, I don't know if you might have to fix the game or not, Brooklyn, because that was what was the score again at the end of two? What was it like up in the 50s or 60s?
68, 60, or no, 69, 65.
Jesus Christ. That was a very I was surprisingly, because Lucas from across the pond, Ramones big over there, you know. So I kind of knew that was in Lucas' wheelhouse. I didn't know how well Grant knew that. I mean wow, that was one of the. I mean, that's really all I can say, Brooklyn, for that. That was one of the best round twos I've ever seen, of just like 120 songs right there, and it was just like it was really anyone's race at the end of that, and it was amazing.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, and like I think that's the one thing that is great about Grant, is that he doesn't show his hand very often. I know that. I know even trying to get him in the league, he's like, I don't think music is my strength, but I'll give it a try. But he went 6 for 8 in round one, and like to be pretty well on the defensive end the entire time, and go back and forth with Luca on Ramones was pretty gosh darn impressive. Unfortunately, he's not going to be competing in the jukebox tournament due to personal reasons. I do wish Grant all the best though, and I do hope that he returns at some point. But it's going to be an exciting couple of weeks here in jukebox trivia, and I'm looking really forward to it. 16 competitors. We're going to have a champion by the end of the month. Looking very forward to that. So with that, we're going to move on to Tuesday. Tuesday, we had a double header. We had both 0-1 competitors, Jessica, the vicious Trollop Morgan, taking on the Hunter, Ryan Permission of the Alpha Alliance. in a match that looked closer on paper. I know Ryan. My first impression of Ryan right out of the bat was that Ryan was very very intelligent. Um, he still is intelligent, but I think he might have had a bit of a dip, or maybe there's a couple of strengths that I thought he had that he doesn't have. But I found almost the exact opposite with Jessica, where she started off oh yeah, like an average movie competitor, but as you see like in this league and other leagues, she skyrocketed up. She could easily be like on Jen Kemp levels of uh, of, of dangerous in movie trivia. So I kick it over to Tim first. Where do you think this leads to the Hunter, not Hunter Chambliss? With the Hunter now being 0-2, what does this do for him match wise in movie trivia? And Jessica, I mean, this has to be nowhere but up from here.
Yeah, I mean, both of them were still looking for that going into this. They were looking for that first win in movies, and you hit that slump. I mean, just because now he's 0-3, I do believe, for Brian after this. That doesn't mean you can't come back from it. You can still come back from it, and Jess finally hitting that first win, which Jess is in the chat room with us. Um, I have to say it's good to see Jess hit that win, and yeah, this does. With one win, you can roll into another, roll into another, roll into another, and then boom, you're fighting for the title. That's how it really works with it. And if she can keep rolling with this, she'll do good.
Absolutely. Woodburn, I'm going to ask you, as a very very veteran player in the MTS. I believe you have 10 matches under your belt. We got an actress that nobody really expects to get in Jennifer Aniston. You yourself as a competitor, what were your thoughts on them getting Jennifer Aniston round two? And with the match, it was kind of one-sided. Were you surprised by that, or do you think that Jennifer Aniston is one that often gets overlooked in terms of an actress' filmography?
Well, I mean, when most people think of her, they think of Friends. Me personally, I'm actually a pretty big fan of hers, and I know I've seen most of her films, if not all of them. So, I mean, Jessica, she played quite well in the match, and I'm surprised that it was kind of one-sided. I think Ryan is a good competitor, but I think he is better suited his skill set for inner geekdom. But he's a solid competitor.
Yeah. In terms of a competitor overall, I think Ryan is one of the top people in terms of like promo and like developing a character. I think he's one of the best people in that, rivaling I think Nico in that department. I think it might just be like maybe taking an hour or something just to kind of go over some stuff, like maybe just kind of brush up on your weaknesses a bit, maybe a little bit. And I think he could easily be a well-rounded competitor, both in terms of character, promo, and actual skill. So I don't think, even though this was considered a knockout in favor of Jess, I don't think this is the end for both people. But I think we'll be seeing them relatively soon. And with that, we got to go to part two of Tuesday. We had a team match, I think, for the first time in like 2 or 3 weeks. This was, of course, member of our panel, Christopher and Caleb, the team with men with no name, taking on the other faction members of Jess's faction, Omega Kappa, in the Cosmic Knight Gear Gole and the Meme Queen Jen Kemp. I gotta go to Chris first. You guys did to get the W. What were your thoughts on the match, and just kind of take me through what your thought process was?
Well, I was feeling pretty good after round one when we were up. I believe the score was 9-6, and then after round two, we were up. After we kicked ass in sports films, we were up 19-6. So I was feeling really good. And then, the Omega Kappas, they got, I believe, romance films. We had a couple steal opportunities, and I shit the bed on Dirty Dancing and the high school in Clueless. I felt like crap after that. And then in round three, They really made us sweat. Jen pulled out the 3-pointer and the 5-pointer, and then Caleb missed the 2, and then I missed the 3. I'm like, oh man, like I was nervous, and then we got the Alex Winter. Luckily, I mean, I knew the answer, but luckily Caleb, he knew it as well, and he said it right away, and we pulled out the win. But I'm not gonna lie, I was quite nervous, but I'm happy for the W.
Absolutely. Over Tim, I have for you, Tim. I had the opportunity to talk to Nico after the match, and he's proud of himself, just because he felt in that match especially. Do you think that we see maybe a different setup for Mega Kappa in the future? I know they have the Freebird rule of Nico, Jen, and maybe Aaron Elizabeth. I'm not sure if she is going to be a competing member. But what do you think this means for Mega Kappa? And if you were to predict a next opponent for the Menethone name, who do you got?
Well, first part is I've known Nico for a while, and Nico does that. He'll have a match, and if he wins, he's super excited, over the moon, just running off in his imagination. But if he loses, he's very heavy on himself, and he shouldn't be, because he's a good competitor. He knows what he knows. Maybe he needs to work on some stuff that he doesn't know, but that doesn't mean he should hold his head down, because he still has a good team with him and Jen, and Nico's also here in the chat with us. He also says Aaron will compete when she feels she's ready, but Nico is still a strong teammate for Jen, and you know, just 2 losses. The teams are still starting up, so 0-2 doesn't mean you're all the way. You have to have a breakup match. 0-2 just means you're 0-2 right now. There's still not that many teams in there. You still have chances to improve. So Nico and Jen, they still have chances to improve. For Chris and Caleb, next opponents,
I'd like to
they could
face
face.
Caleb Coho and Nicole Morris, if possible.
Well, there's that. I think they ought to get a win first before they face you guys, if they can get a win, because it's the no win organization. I mean the NWO. You could face the Can-Am Express, for example. You could face Sons of Apocalypse. You could face Russell and Chance. I mean, there's a lot of teams that they could face to move up there, depending on what we do with teams, if there's going to be championships or not. But there's opportunity to move up and to face other 1-0 teams and see how they do. And you never know. I mean, that's the thing. You have good luck in one match. It might not go your way the second match, but they're strong competitors, so it's going to be a good match for Chris and Caleb, whoever they face.
I'm gonna throw the name. I'm gonna throw the team name. I don't think has yet to compete. But I think even though they've making their debut, would be a great match in terms of what we've seen them. And that would be Team Destiny in terms of Robert Parker and Jake Baragnoni. Robert's a beast in IG and movie trivia. Jake, I experienced firsthand that he fucking knows his shit. I think that if we couldn't get those teams, Team Destiny would be a great opponent for men with no names.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm down to compete anybody. You set it up and I'll be there.
Sure, for sure. All right, guys, so that takes us into Wednesday, Hump Day, wrestling trivia. This was a it was a slow match, but it was good to see wrestling trivia back on the docket. The last time we saw that division, Jeremy Hastings defeated Hunter to acquire the vacant WTS championship. And then like we saw in this match, Hunter got right back on the saddle and showed why he is a contender in WTS. I know he gets a lot of slack for being like a weaker opponent in every division, but you got to give credit where credit's due. He's good at wrestling trivia. I got to take it over to Woodburn. What were your thoughts on the match? And with a debuting Leo Keegan, correct me if I'm that, if that name is if that last name is pronounced correctly. What were your thoughts on seeing his performance as an actual like wrestler on the circus?
Well, unfortunately, I'm not much of a wrestling fan these days, so I actually didn't check out that match. But I would like to echo something Tim said before. Nico, I understand that you love competing and you hate losing. Believe me, I'm my own worst critic. But at the end of the day, this is all for fun, so try not to be so hard on yourself and just enjoy yourself.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, I'm gonna take it over to Tim with this question here. Um, I know there's been kind of there's been a little bit of criticism about the WTS league being kind of I guess stagnant might be the word. That might be the word incorrectly, but just like you kind of see the same faces. I know I know that's kind of the it's not the fault of Heyman and the crew just because wrestling is such a niche league. But with their schedule update going bi-weekly instead of weekly, um, what do you think? Um, who do you want to see next compete? Maybe be that next contender for the belt, as opposed to seeing like the Jeremy, the Marks, and the Hunters of the league.
Well, I mean, for wrestling, for that league, I mean, yeah, it is a niche league. You only have so many right now. Nicole expressed interest, I do believe. Don't quote me on that. With her initial post in the group, I do believe. Don't quote me. But
Yeah, I think you're right.
uh, yeah, contender now you could see is Harry. Harry has blown through wrestling. He's a big wrestling guy, into a lot of it. If you ask him, he'll gladly tell you because he tells us, and we love hearing those stories, especially me. Because I'm a big wrestling fan, even though I suck at wrestling trivia so bad.
You and I
But
both. You and I both.
yeah, yeah. But I mean, if we hit on stuff that I don't know, then I'm pretty brutal. But I mean, I could see Harry eventually going for it in, if not his next match, the match after, because I think he has a 4-0 record. He would be up there for a contender for Jeremy's belt for WTS, and I'd love to see that. Um, I mean, I'd love to see. We haven't seen Nico back in wrestling, and yeah, I know he's here in the chat, and people can say, "Oh, it's fan service or whatever." No, it's really not, because Nico is a past champion. We haven't seen him in wrestling for a while. I mean, eventually it'll build up and we'll see more faces and names that we know, that we love, and then we'd have a pretty bigger pool to really pull from. But right now, I think Harry would be the next number one contender for the question.
Awesome. Well, that's good. That's good. And yeah, like I know wrestling is kind of is slowing down because of that nicheness. But I do think that's going to work out well. I think matches will be a little bit more anticipated. Competitors will have time to kind of build a promo, similar to how WWE works. Maybe build that story, so that they can have a great quality match, and you just get a little more emotion in that match. And I think it's going to work out good for them. Um, so with that, we move on to Thursday. That is, of course, IG Thursdays, and this is a pretty not anticipated match, but this is one that we've been kind of waiting for a bit. The Canadian Nightmare Harley Quinn. I'm not sure what his new nickname is. Mark Borick making his much needed return to just competition in general, taking on El Lobo Jim Green in a shootout of a match. Round one was Mark came out of round one with the lead, but then both players got their strengths in round two. Uh, Jim had a dominant performance in round two, getting all of his questions right. And then Mark, even though getting Star Wars, he did lose a point in the steel. Um, and then it came down second last question. Like that quote round, that makes or breaks. So go to Tim first. You were there hosting. Um, what were your thoughts on the match and seeing both competitors get their strengths in round two? Where did you see round three going, and were you surprised at how round three was?
Before I answer your question, Caleb in the chat, our own the real Caleb mashed potatoes. I said it correctly. Please let my family go. Uh, he says for wrestling, you could also see Warren once he gets some headphones, and RJ and Emmanuel. If you watch past matches, you can see they are strong contenders for that. Also for wrestling, but to back to your question, both of them got their strengths uh, with Jim preparing for an all-out. I think it's like I don't know if it's an Iron Man or what over at Full Metal Trivia for the Harry Potter match, but him landing on Harry Potter and him studying for it, there was no surprise. It was like, oh fuck, this is gonna be dangerous. But then Mark hit Star Wars, which yeah, he had to go to multiple choice, I think, for one or two of them, but he still kept it close. And then once it got to round three, like you said, those quotes can make or break you. And he just, if he would have got the name right, he would have kept it tied. But yeah, going to the last quote, it was just who was gonna get it first, who was gonna want it more, and Jim got it, and Jim won the game. So I mean, it was a great match, and it was going to be the undercard to our second number one contender slot card with RJ and Sandy. Granted, because of schedules, we couldn't do it. We're hoping to get it this coming week. We'll have 3 IG matches, so we'll see. We'll see when it comes to that. But it was a great match, regardless whether it would have been an undercard or not. It was 16-15. It was a great match all the way down to the end.
Absolutely. So now taking over to Woodburn. With Jim's win, he joins, I believe, Haven and Mark as being only one of 3 people to hit the cycle that we call, where they get the win in every major division. What were your thoughts on the match? Who do you think is the next to maybe get on that cycle list? And what does this mean now with Mark? Mark is unfortunately now, I believe, 1-5 or 1-6, getting very close to. Sorry,
1-5.
1-5. Yeah, so he is 1-5. Like you said in the match, it's getting close to a Hunter record. What does this mean for both competitors?
Well, I hope that I can be the next person to get wins in all the leagues, God permitting. But yeah, to echo Tim, this was a fantastic match, and Jim crushed in the second round with Harry Potter. Like I only knew 2 of those answers. I'm like this was some deep cut shit that he was answering. So, and I'm a big Harry Potter fan. And then Mark, I felt so bad for Mark in round 3 because his last quote, I knew it was Leah Thompson. I knew the movie was Howard the Duck, but I would never be able to guess her character name in that film. So I felt so bad for him. But yeah, I mean, Jim, he pulled off a great win.
Yeah, for sure. And like for me, the thing that stood out in that match was how Jim just snapped off answers in round 2. Like even got a 2-point answer before Caleb finished the question. And then in round 3, you got to see a lot of movies that people kind of forget about. Like nobody really thinks about Howard. Like I know technically Howard the Duck is a Marvel movie, but people kind of forget to look up on it, and it might just be just kind of a quick kind of skim through it, kind of cover the highlights, kind of see the lead stars, and that might end up getting you a win. But unfortunately, Mark not being able to pull out the entire Howard the Duck quote. So with that, guys, that covers us for Jack of all trivia. Now we move on to a very juicy Schmodown title week. We had 2 matches, and by God, were they ever 2 matches. Tuesday was, of course, the singles championship match. We had Rachel Cushing coming off of a dominant triple threat performance against JTE and KO Kalinowski, taking on Sam Levine, who went into this with a five game win streak, of course, winning the Ultimate Showdown and then beating the former commissioner, I guess, Christian Harloff. This one is close until the speed round, and then Sam proved that why he is the champion, just being that maybe that second quicker as opposed to Rachel Cushing. Woodburn, what were your thoughts on this match in general? And I know there's been people who have been saying that maybe the championship should be the 3-round format as opposed to the 5-round. Do you think that's just a load of baloney? Should competitors be practicing the speed round and the betting round? Maybe just getting more so a game strategy perspective as opposed to just buffing up your movie trivia in general.
Well, I was highly anticipating this match. To anybody who thinks that championship matches should stay the normal 3 rounds, no. Championships matches should be special and unique. So I love the 5-round format. You know, I've wanted Rachel Cushing to win so badly. You know, I like Sam Levine quite a bit. But Rachel, she's one of my top favorite competitors. You know, I've been rooting for her since day one. And, you know, that speed round killed her. And I'm noticing a trend that players that compete in that speed round for the first time, they struggle. I think that is key in these championship matches. So maybe practicing them speed rounds beforehand could do wonders for you in the actual game. But yeah, I mean, Sam, he defended, and we'll see how long he's able to hold on to the belt. But Crusher, you'll come back strong. I have no doubt about that.
Absolutely. I take it over to Tim now. Even though Sam had a dominant speed round, Rachel did have a chance to kind of come back. Her 5-pointer was. I've heard, I was reading the comments after the match. People said that it was one of the toughest 5-point questions ever. Somehow I got it. I was talking to other people, and they were like, they got it because of school and stuff. Obviously the answer was Beowulf. What were your thoughts on that last 5-point question? And we also got to see today, or in that match, we got to see Fight Club almost in their full form, minus Sam Witwer. I mean, this as a kind of a debut as the faction coming together. What does this mean for Fight Club? And what does Cushing now have to do to get back in that title spot?
First, I want to go yes, because Sam Levine is our Daniel Bryan of the Schmodown, and I am so happy he is still champion. Regardless, the Do-Gooder Club could not pull out a win for their title, but that happens. I don't think it's going to be the end we see of Rachel Cushing. We'll see her eventually come back for that title because she is a strong competitor. I would love to see Clark or I'm blanking on
And
his name
Draco?
now. Thank you, Chris. Yes, Mark and Draco. I'd love to see more of them in the singles too. We haven't seen a lot of them from the singles for a while now. You know, and they're strong contenders. Eventually, one of them will get there and probably win. I'm just happy now because I'm a big fan of Sam's. You know, since he's came into this league, I've always thought his tag, he might as well just steal it from Daniel Bryan, Fear the Beard, because you fear those fucking beards. I tell you what. And I'm happy that they won. I honestly blanked on Beowulf because I'm going down a list of all her fucking movies and I forgot about Beowulf. I always forget about that movie. Granted, it's a forgettable movie, but I forgot about it. So I can't really blame people. That was a good 5-pointer. If she would have hit it, it would have threw it back to Sam, and he would have had a chance to win it. But regardless, she got close, and I know we'll see more of them eventually in the future. Either one of those three going for that title. she has a strong stable with her with MF Life, regardless what anyone's opinion of MF Life is. She has a strong stable of competitors. But it's
Oh yeah.
going to come down, and I say this, once the Shire Wolves debut as a team, is it going to be a success, or is it going to be another Wolves of Steel where they tumble? So we're going to see when it comes to that. But yeah, that's me for that.
All right. So a quick question that I have for you guys regarding this match. Question coming off of this tough loss. Um, you're Christian Harloff. You want to see you obviously want to see Rachel get in here. She's good for the fans. Like she's like she provides that diversity that's great. Like she's a great competitor all around. It doesn't matter that she's a woman or a man. Like she could be an alien. Like she's still a fantastic competitor. Um, so you're Christian Harloff. What opponent do you have for Rachel Cushing as a this is step one to get back into the championship?
I'd like to see her face um shoot, I'm blanking on the name now. Crap. Take it to Tim.
Describe it.
I forgot.
See if I can
Um,
help you like you helped me.
um, I'm not blanking. Snyder.
F. Snyder.
I'd like to see her face Snyder.
I think he's got a busy schedule, or not a busy schedule, but I think he's like I think he might be like in that like kind of mix for the next contender. I know that the winner of JT and Roca face McWeeny, and then Snyder. Like there's rumors maybe that Snyder plays. Um, like maybe would he play like Lon and who else is 2-0? Lon Harrison who? Um, Freak, who else is 2-0?
I'm blanking too.
Yeah, I
Or
can't think
Bibbs?
of anybody who's 2-0.
Or McQueenie. Or no, not McQueenie. Yeah, with Bibbs. Like, do you put Bibbs back in the title picture right away? I know it's coming off a loss, but do you put him against Lon, and then that winner play Snyder, and then that winner play the winner of McQueenie, JT Roca? Like, do you put Bibbs back in right away, or is there someone else that I'm just not thinking of?
Well, we'll see. Ben Bateman has a match coming up pretty soon against Dale the Dude. So see how he does.
That'll be a win.
Yeah, Tim. Who do you give Cushing as kind of a step one to get back into the title contention?
Well, I mean, she's up there with the rankings, so you want to give her someone close to that. A couple names thrown around in the chat. Yes, Mark, I know the echo is brutal, but we can't do anything about that right now. Caleb is throwing Rachel versus Roca. Jessica threw McWeenie. Caleb also threw maybe Jim from Top That versus Rachel. So there's a lot of people you can see. Like Ben Bateman's match, we'll see how that outcome is. I would give him a few more matches before he gets up there in the title match. I mean, there's a lot of names you could throw in there for her to work her way back up there, but she's still up there within a top 5 rank. So you wouldn't have to throw her in too many, I don't think. Maybe a couple to build up a contender, but I don't think you'd have to throw her in too many.
Yeah.
Well, let's also keep in mind that Emma Fife has that number one contender match guarantee.
All right. So while you guys talk about that, I'm gonna go try and find a pair of headphones because I think I'm the reason why the echo is so bad. So talk about who do you think Fife's gonna give her contendership to, and I'll be like 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
I guess it's just I don't know. I still hear the echo, so I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's yours or mine.
I'm not sure. I actually don't hear an echo at all.
I hear it a little bit. I want to hold on because I do have. Do we hear an echo now? We still hear it.
Nah. Yeah, I still don't
I
hear an
still
echo.
I don't know where it's
How about
coming
me?
from. I don't know.
Anything?
Yeah. Do we? No, I don't hear. No, I still hear.
Ah. All right. I do apologize, guys, for the audio difficulties. We'll try and get this fixed in the near future. Uh, yeah, unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about it. Um, so yeah, what did you guys determine while I'm gone? Who does Fife give her contendership to?
Oh, that was the question. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good thing. You could either. I I think she might do it for teams. I really think. Chris, what about you?
Yeah.
Um, you know, I tend to agree with you on teams. However, I think she may want to wait a little bit, to let Cushing and Wolf, really develop their chemistry in these matches. So while I think it would be smarter to give it to the Shire Wolves, I think ultimately she may give it to Cushing because Cushing got so close that she wants to give her another crack at it.
Mm,
But do you give it to Cushing for IG or MTS?
I think now that's a tough question because obviously Rachel is dominant in IG, probably more so than regular movie trivia. So I don't know. It could go either way. Maybe I would lean towards more IG, but you never know.
Yeah. Tim, what are your thoughts? Like for me personally, I think it's a waste to give it to Cushing and IG because she's already a good contender. It might be a good thing to give the Shire Wolves a head start and just kind of get them right in the number contender match. Like obviously Cushing and Clark are dominant people in their own way, respectively. Um, it, it might be just to let them kind of have a match, just see what their chemistry is like, and then once they get the chemistry, just to put them right into it. Um, but anything to add on that, I guess?
yeah, I would say it would be a good thing for teams, but you want to see how that team does first. You don't just want to throw them into the deep end. It's like a kid swimming. Granted, a lot of parents will just throw them into the deep end, but you might want to start off small because, like I said, you could have a repeat of Wolves of Steel, and nobody wants that.
Yeah.
So I mean, you could do it for movies, maybe with someone else, because Rachel would still be up there within the top five, so she could easily work her way back up. She's a number one, or she's a high up there in her geekdom. I I don't know. I mean, Mark in the chat is saying IG. Caleb's really agreeing that she's more than likely to get the IG belt on her own. Um, and Jessica thinking teams would probably work out, but we'll have to see how it goes, and I'm sure she'll be smart and use it at the right time.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Um, so we're gonna get into the last match, but before we do that, I want to mention that we are going to do taking some questions after we cover this match. So if you have any questions, get them in. Our lovely producer today, Tim, is going to try and keep track of those. I tried to stand chat, but my phone ate faster today. Tim, if you could ever so kindly keep track of those questions, and you will continue to be the best Dallas Cowboys fan. I don't know how that's a thing. That's kind of a oxymoronic thing to say. There's no such thing as a good Cowboys fan.
Brooklyn, I want to
Maybe,
say this
maybe
right now.
Maybe Woodburn.
I want to say this right
Yeah.
now. You're vastly outnumbered, you dirty fucking Giants fan. Remember that.
Yeah, Brooklyn, I'm a fellow Cowboy fan myself.
Yeah, you guys. I don't know if it was you just dropped what you fell out of the crib whenever you were a baby, just kind of bumped your head, or if the kids are cheer for the Cowboys, probably a good idea. So with that, guys, aside from shitty football teams, let's get into the so not controversial match whatsoever. Patriots taking on top 10 in what was back and forth. I mean, like even on the Facebook page alone, 1,000 comments on the master post. The comments had to be turned off. Very divided in round 3. But before that, it was a good match. Definitely proved that that both teams were well versed. Like, there's a lot of times where if it missed, the other person got it. It was there was I don't think there was ever any 4-point swings. Round 2, I know Top 10 was bitching about quotes about having some like softball questions. And then Top 10 got, what did they get in round 2? Because they got it twice.
Top 10 got
Tarantino.
yeah, Tarantino.
Tarantino. Yeah, and with Tarantino, you kind of have to expect because he only has the 8 films. And then of course round 3 where shit hit the fan. So for those of you who don't know, what happened was Snyder spun the wheel. They got westerns. The question was, what actor played in some movie? The answer was Jane Fonda. They wrote down the answers. They got it wrong. John Roca had something squiggled on there. He said Jane Fonda, but there was debate on whether or not. I'm first on this, and then I'll go to our panel. After I looked at it myself, you could see that Roca was either a very vague Fonda. He had one of the two, but he definitely did not have Jane Fonda. In terms of the challenge, I believe they got it partially wrong. Roca was incorrect. He did not have the answer written down, and like even the debate of, oh yeah, he knew it. That it's like, if he knew it, he would have written it down. I believe where things kind of went sour for me is when they gave them the respin. I think that's it. You should have had you should have treated Roca's submission answer. Like, he could have written down, he could have written down John Wayne. And that would be the exact same thing as the swiggle, whatever he wrote. So I think it was to say the least. Giving them another question was. I disagree with it. I mean, obviously they talked about it for a while. So obviously they had their reasoning as to why they gave the respin. This then led to them getting Will Smith, getting a deep question in Collateral Beauty. That ended up resulting in putting the Patriots up by 6. And then the speed round, Patriots did their thing and they got the knockout. I gotta go to Woodburn first. What are your thoughts on the round 3 clusterfuck, to say the least? And would you have ruled it similarly to how Christian and the gang ruled
it? This was a mess. Now, I'll agree, Roca didn't write down the answer. I couldn't really read anything on that board. Yes, he said the answer correctly. What they should have done is exactly what you said. They should have either not given either team, the points, move on to round 4, or give them a different question in Westerns. The fact that there was a respin was ridiculous. Nos and Roca were cheated in that regard. So, I mean, it was a mess. And hopefully it's something that they'll learn from, and that mistake won't be repeated in the future. And Roca and Nos have every right to be pissed.
I don't think they have. I understand that they're pissed, but I think Roca tried to make something out of nothing. I think to kind of explain my rule a little bit, a little more in detail, is that Patriots should have they should have still been docked like the 2 points I believe that they wagered. But then also Roca and Matt No should have been docked 3 points that they wagered because they had an incorrect answer and then just move on. Like just look at it as both teams got the question incorrect. But of course I have to go to Tim. Tim's a top 10 guy. Were Roca knows right to be pissed off. Should they get the rematch? I mean, what is it going to take now to stop the Patriots?
I mean, yeah, I kind of, the more I think about it, because I just saw this match before we did this because we pushed it back, so I get to watch it in its entirety to see it. Round 3 was a clusterfuck. I really think, I do agree with Chris more. They should have just got another question in Westerns if they wanted to do it that way, because you always make extra questions for that round in case something like that happens. Like we've seen before, I don't think they should have respin. They should have just had another question in Westerns. That will be the scribble that will be made into 1,000 memes. Jen Kemp, get on that. But I don't think they should have respin. They should have just gave another Western or question in Westerns, because with the respin, we had the same what would have happened anyways. They would have been down 3 points. Patriots would have had been down 2 points. So it kind of balanced itself out, and the speed round killed them. But I don't think you throw them in right away. I think you build it up to see who faces them next. I still believe Above the Line will have the best damn shot of stopping them. We'll see how the Shire Wolves do once they compete. But for right now in the future, they can probably rest easy to figure out who their next contender is. The Patriots will.
Yeah, but before Above the Line gets a chance, they have to go through a very powerful MODOK. These guys they were a challenge away from getting the championship, and I think they have vengeance. They have blood. They have blood to play with because they haven't competed since they lost the opportunity. Before we get to questions, I want to see what people are saying in the chat in terms of that match. How would they have ruled round 3? Just in terms of the match overall. Tim, so yeah, what's going on with chat?
Let's look here. Mark, of course, the big Patriots fan. Patriots, what can you say? Team top 10 will complain, and they are, because they're babies and they're the ones that screwed up. By the way, go Patriots. Let's see. Then it goes into back and forth of Mark, how do team top 10 have every right to be pissed? They are the ones that screwed up. And also stating that the Patriots will not be having a team or a title match as long as the Patriots are the champions now, from a rule stated earlier. I'll have to rewatch that.
I would like to.
Oh, go ahead, Chris.
I would like to say something, give credit. I want to give credit where credit is due. You know, as much as most of us, we all love the Bagel and the Patriots, they are fucking awesome. Like, it can't be denied. You know, and with Above the Line taking on MODOK, I give the edge to Above the Line in that match. But regardless of who wins, it is going to be a Herculean task to defeat those pesky Patriots. Cause, I mean, they're 9-0. Like, they have ransacked the whole league. Like, my only question is, when are they going to lose? Because honestly, you know, I like top 10. I was rooting for them. But going forward, I don't know how you can go against the Patriots. Like, it's going to be tough to defeat them.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Above the Line and MODOK, it's like kind of choosing which kid I like the best. Both of them did glorious things for me in fantasy last year. It's like it's so freaking close, because I think what might be like it might be like a problem for MODOK is that their character might get in the way of their skill. Like maybe if they're just like, you know what, maybe for this match and like for this run to the title, maybe we just don't go in with a character gimmick. That we just go right in like as their normal selves, I guess, and just kind of go in and see that. I can't really give a line to either team. Like it's just so gosh darn close. Um, uh, but yeah, like Patriots are in terms of like chemistry, top team in the league. Like 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 you saw it in round two. They pulled their first spin was
They got quotes
they
both
had
times.
yeah, multiple times, and then like instantly looked over to Snyder. It's like, all right, are we gonna spin here? Like, what do you want to do? And like it was instantly like, all right, we're spinning here. I thought it was great. At first, I wasn't a fan of the Patriots. I'm still kind of not a fan of the Patriots, but I do respect them in terms of their team play and yeah, like kind of to echo something earlier. Snyder did great for me in fantasy last year, so anytime he's playing, I'm probably going to root for him, unless it's of course about the line or Modoc. So with that, this is going to be kind of our question portion of the rewind. I think we're about like an hour or so in, so we got a bit of time here to kill. Tim, what kind of questions do we got here?
The first one we had was from Jessica Morgan. Here's one for you. Who should be my next victim? LOL.
I'm sorry, what was that again?
Jessica Morgan. Here's one for you. Who should be my next victim? LOL.
Jessica's next victim. She is 1-1. I'm not sure. I'm trying to think who's 1-1 right now. You could argue. I'd like to see her take on Jake Marinoni. I think Jake. I'm not sure what Jake's record currently is right now, but I think that would be a good match. I mean, Jake is obviously a fucking dominant beast in movie release dates. That bastard, that fucking Aussie bastard. I apologize. Aussies are great people, but my God, fucking movie release dates. Yeah, who do you guys think? I think Jake could be a good opponent for her.
Yeah, I mean, Jake is a good player. I mean, it's hard to think of somebody off the top of the head. I mean, most of the players I can think of have had several matches, so thinking of one who hasn't had quite as many, hard to remember, keep track of everybody.
Yeah. Tim, yeah, who do you think?
I mean, yeah, it is kind of hard to think off names right now because, I mean, we don't get a lot of rankings out of MTS anymore, which sucks. Yeah, Jake would be a good one off the top of my head. God, I'd have to look at the rankings to see if we ever get a hold of them to see because there'd be some names to go through to see who she gets to face next.
Is Jim Green also 1-1?
I'd have to double check, I think, but I'm not too sure. I know he's 1-1 and interviewed him, but I don't know about movies.
Jim would be a good one in the sense of like how McWindy and Roca would be a good one. Jim's good on the mic. He's a good trash talker, and Jessica's for the most part, pardon me, it's pretty laid back. She kind of lets Trivia do the talking. So I think that once again, guys, I kind of feel bad about that Aussie comment. I do apologize to any Aussie fans listening to us. I don't know why you'd be listening to us at approximately. Actually, I guess it'd be 8 a.m. So you'd be just getting up on a Sunday morning. Yeah, once again, I do apologize for that. What other questions do we got?
Caleb asked, the real Caleb, should we adopt musicals into MTS?
Absolutely. Musicals should definitely be a category, similar to how crime is a category. You look at like spy films, war films. Musicals are a genre, similar to comedy and drama. I think you get them depending on like I know it's kind of weird to say, but who writes the questions? I know when I'm writing matches, I might throw in one every now and then. I think Caleb Coho, whenever he writes, he'll try and throw in like musicals or something that he enjoys. But yeah, I think musicals should definitely be in in the MTS. Christopher, what are your thoughts?
Um, no, thank you. Outside of Greece, I'm not a fan of musicals. So, I mean, obviously it's your guys' call, but me, I'd like to keep my distance.
Yeah. Um, yeah, like I'll admit musicals isn't my strength. Like unless it was like Moulin Rouge or Hairspray or like if you count the Disney animated movies as sequels like Lion King, Little Mermaid, that kind of stuff. I do piss poor in that category. Tim, what do you think? Should musicals be in the MTS or should they stay off for a little while?
I wouldn't mind seeing them in MTS because I mean musicals. There are a lot of musical movies you could pull from. Rent, Mamma Mia. I think there's a lot of those you could pull from. So I think yes, you could see it in there. I don't know how fast you'll see it in there, but I think you could
Yeah.
see it in there eventually.
Hey
Oh yeah,
guys,
for
fun
sure.
fact: Mamma Mia came out the same day as the masterpiece The Dark Knight.
Well, you learn something new every day.
Uh,
With that being said, oh sorry.
another, if we're getting back to questions,
Yeah,
another
for sure.
one. Uh, Caleb has, because he's shooting them out first, so it's pretty much I'm just going down the list here. What new category would you want to see most in Inner Geekdom?
In Inner Geekdom, James Bond. James Bond. Totally. Uh, fans of James Bond fans of James Bond are diehards, similar to how Star Wars, Lord of the Rings. I don't even know why. I don't understand the hype of Lord of the Rings. I know Robert somewhere is screaming right now, along with Rachel Cushing. Um, but yeah, I think James Bond is the next category that you add. You could argue Back to the Future, but I think Back to the Future just doesn't have a big enough sample size. I mean, like you could argue the same thing with DCU, but they're going to be growing constantly and constantly. Whereas Back to the Future is pretty stagnant. I don't think there's any plans of doing a remake at anytime soon. But Woodburn, if you were the commissioner of IG, what is the next category that you add?
Honestly, I think we're covered. I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum as you, and it's not just because I've never seen any of the movies, but I personally don't feel that James Bond belongs in IG, nor does Back to the Future. But that's just me.
Yeah. Tim, as somebody who is a pretty busy guy in the Inner Kingdom, who do you think, or what category is next to be added?
I mean, you could make an argument for both 007 and Back to the Future. They are pretty big fan bases. I mean, I'd love to see a Fast and Furious category because I'm a big Fast and Furious fan, but I think that more fit in movies than anything else. But I mean, there's a lot of very different uh, sagas of movies, I guess you could say, that we put in there. It just depends on your fan bases, how popular they are, how big they are for Inner Geekdom. It it just depends on what comes
Uh,
down in the list of it and how it works out, I guess.
I mean, another one
I'd
that
like
you
to
can kind
say,
of.
sorry, go ahead, Brooklyn.
Oh no, you go ahead.
I was going to say, I know one category that I would like to see add to regular movie trivia. We got Tarantino in there. Where's Christopher Nolan?
He's been on there.
Really?
Christopher Nolan. Yeah, he's been. I know he's on the app. I like 95% sure that he's been at least a slice on the wheel.
Oh, we're talking an actual schmodown?
No, yeah, no, yeah, we're talking like IG, like actual, yeah, or yeah, actual slowdown, yeah.
No, I mean for our league, regular movie
Oh, for our
trivia.
league, yeah, I think Nolan gets dispersed pretty well. Like maybe not so much that he gets his own independent category. I know myself writing questions previously. I've done Tarantino, Fincher. I think I've done the Scorsese category. But yeah, I think Nolan definitely deserves to be up there. Another one I think for IG that you could potentially add in because of like things like Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter. YA movies. You got like the Maze Runners, Bridge to Terabithia, like the Divergent, the Twilight. I'm gonna say that very quietly, as people fucking hate those movies. But I think those
Hey,
two
I
that you
actually
could,
like the Twilight movies.
yeah, I think you could argue that YA would be a good one to add. Um, they kind of have that following. I think the competitors that are in that league, that are in our league right now, definitely grew up with the books and the movies. So I think you could argue that that is one that is followed heavily. Um, but yeah, it could also turn into one that a category similar to video games that just everybody fucking hates. So with that, next question.
Nico Suave Regole. What more can I do to step up my promo game?
What can Mark and Nico to do? Just to,
No,
to
what
step
can
up their
Nico
promo
do?
game?
What can Nico do to
What?
step up his promo game?
I think the problem, not necessarily a problem, but I think what Nico can do, um, maybe just it might be like just some prep, maybe it's kind of rehearsal, maybe just kind of like just construct a story, with and like what I go on more so is the promo that you cut yesterday that you called out Kane McMillan in Jukebox. Your story was correct, but it was straightforward. There wasn't like kind of like you didn't kind of take us on a journey. I guess it was just more straightforward. It's like, oh yeah, yeah, you asked Brooklyn as to who competitors you think you would do well against. I said Canadian American. It was just kind of like point A to point B. It's like there should almost be like an up down left right turn around all around. So maybe just like maybe stretching your story a little bit, not exaggerated, but like yeah, maybe just kind of add like I don't know. Chris, what do you think makes a good promo, or what can Nico do?
Nico, I've one suggestion for you. Make a music video.
Okay, pardon me. Yeah, I mean
But
you can
maybe
say
focus
it,
more
you can say it,
on
Dev.
the trivia aspect instead of better promos.
Yeah. Tim, anything to add on that question?
Uh, I mean, I'm never gonna say anything bad with it because Nico does shoot for the stars regardless, and I mean, the kid tries his heart out with it. Granted, yeah, he needs to win some matches. I think more to make it more of a compelling story, but that's just my opinion on it.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions that we got?
One, Nazario has joined us. My
Thank
question
you,
is,
Nazario.
can Woodburn think about anything other than Nolan and Dark Knight?
Well,
I think about plenty other than Nolan in the Dark Knight. I love money, first and foremost. Everything else comes after. But yes, I'm unapologetic lover of Christopher Nolan and all his films. Sorry.
yeah. Oh, no worries, man. We are movie fans. We have our go tos, our diehards. For me, it's like almost anything David Fincher, anything that he puts out, I'm gonna watch and I'm gonna be a fan of. Same thing with Tarantino. His his films are, in terms of Tarantino, they're not like the greatest. They're not like the greatest movies of all time, but they're consistent. And I like the character and the dialogue that he builds in his movies, and it's those aspects that I go back to, and what keep me with him. Um, Tim, is it like I know kind of the basic question off of the question? What's a director or like an actor or a genre that you're just gonna stick with no matter what?
Directors, I'm not really too big into, honestly. Actors, it kind of comes and goes. There's a few like I've always loved Daniel Craig. I've always loved Christian Bale. Granted, Christian Bale has his moments where you're just like, who's he gonna off this week? But uh, Russell Crowe, Tom Hanks. There's a lot of actors I'd follow more than directors, but if you go into genres and probably anything geeky, because I get my geek on a lot. But yeah.
For sure. What are the questions we got on the docket?
Let's see. Jessica Morgan. How about a music match once your tournament is over, Brooklyn? I think more
Like,
it's
like,
to get her in a match, I guess.
Like Jess wants to compete, or she wants to compete against me.
I'll wait for Jessica to be more specific with that, because you can look at it either way. But I think she's more. I think maybe she just wants more. Let's just focus on maybe just a music match once the tournament is over.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I do have a plan for season 2, I guess. We're going to be doing March Mayhem Heads Up 1 and then March Mayhem Heads Up 2. We're also going to be doing. I don't know if I've talked about this a lot yet, but March is going to be top 10 TV themes. That is going to be Tim, Jim, and a couple other cool cats that are going to be joining us as well. And then, I think we might take a week off, and then we'll go right into season 2. If Kane, I think Kane has accepted Nico's callouts. I think that might be the opener for season 1. I think that could be like it'll definitely be low scoring, but it could be a pretty entertaining match where you have like Nico as like this boisterous, exuberant competitor who's just full of energy, where Kane is like just kind of laid back, has like that dry humor approach. That I think is fucking awesome. But yeah, Jessica, you want in for season 2? You got it. If you want to compete against certain people, I plan on getting in the ring in season 2. I know that's kind of it's weird to say, but it's kind of a fear to get in my league. Only because I have a legitimate fear of losing in a league that I created. I just feel like once I lose, it's just gonna be like horrendous. I'm gonna be like no more jukebox trivia. I can't even win in my own goddamn league. So, so with that, I think we'll do one more question.
All right. If we're doing just one more question, I want to go with this one more. I kind of like this because it's a two-parter to break it down. Kane asks, who do you think wins out of Sandy and RJ? And then who do you think will win between that winner against Robert for a number 1 contender shot at Execution?
Sandy will beat RJ, and then Robert will beat Sandy, but by the skin of his teeth. As long like if it depends on what happens in round 2 in the Robert Sandy match. If Robert pulls like a Star Trek, then I definitely give the edge to Sandy. But I don't know what Sandy's like true weakness is. I know he's pretty consistent in all the categories. Maybe it's like a scores and soundtracks or like a movie release dates that like is the one that he like tries to avoid. But I think Sandy definitely defeats RJ, and it's a toss up for Robert and Sandy. Woodburn, who do you think?
Yeah, I'm in pretty much agreement with you. I got Sandy will defeat RJ and Robert. I mean, until somebody beats Robert, I'll never bet against him. So it's just one of those things. Robert is dominant.
Well, yeah, Robert has lost in non-IG matches. He lost twice to Mr. Gregory. Tim, who do you have Sandy or RJ, and then do they have what it takes to take on the Hobbits?
Well, I mean, out of Sandy and RJ, we've seen this match happen a few times in Inner Geekdom, especially the last big tournament they did before we did Phase 2 or Season 2. I would say Sandy's on a hot streak of it, but I love a dark horse. So my dark horse would be RJ. But the thing of it, no matter who wins that against Robert, if you remember his first 2 wins, he only missed 2 questions out of 2 games, and then it came to that Steven game, and he was shaken up. You saw the Russian was cut, and it depends. If you get one of those games where he's shaken up a bit, one of them could take it. But like what Chris said, I'm not going to ever bet against Robert because I've seen what he can do. But with the time off that Sandy and RJ has had, that could also bolster their Inner Geekdom game. And it's going to be interesting. If I had to pick, my money would be on Sandy, but I love the dark horse of RJ. And then when it comes down to that, if it comes down to Sandy versus Robert, I'd honestly give it to Sandy by a slim margin. But if it came down to Robert and RJ, I'd say Robert wins it. So it's going to see who it comes down to between Sandy and RJ for me.
Oh yeah, that's good. I didn't mean, but between us, it's pretty clear that I think Sandy is going to pull it on RJ. No disrespect to RJ. I think he's a good competitor, but I think Sandy has shown his diversity in IG. That where he isn't just like a Star Trek and go. He can pull those different answers from the different categories, and then like how I kind of predicted right at the gate. Robert and Sandy's a toss up. Whoever is that match a number 1 contenders match?
What, the winner of Sandy and RJ taking on Robert?
Yeah,
that one would be a number 1 contender match.
If I were Chance after the Roberts whoever match, I'd definitely be hitting the books because they're going to be coming in hot, and I'd be like, especially if Chance takes on whoever it is, like they got to brush up on whoever it is. So if he takes on Robert, he's really got to brush up on Lord of the Rings. If it's Sandy, it's Star Trek, and if it's RJ, it's comic book movies, video game movies? Question mark. I'm not sure what RJ's dominant strength is.
I would also want to point out too, with Sandy winning the free for all, he has that title opportunity that he could cash in too at any moment.
He could. Does he use it though after he say if he loses to RJ, does he just kind of does he use it, or does he just kind of? Because I think similar to Emma using the IG, using the number 1 contender for Rachel for IG. I think Sandy doesn't need that for IG. I think he can get there himself. It might take him like a second try, but I think he can get there. I don't know. There's a couple ways I can go, but maybe we'll save that for a later episode. I think we are getting towards the 1.5 hour mark, so at this point we're gonna call it an evening. I want to thank Tim and Chris for joining us today. We'll try to keep the panel kind of a cycle. Like we try to keep on as many people as we can. So I want to thank Chris for joining us today. Where can the good kids of the world find you?
You can find me on YouTube, Christopher Woodburn, Twitter, Chris Woodburn83, Facebook, Christopher Michael Woodburn. And if you do Schmodown reactions, come join the MTS Fan Reaction League on Facebook. It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely, Peace. Absolutely. Tim, our producer today, our question guy, where can the good kids of the world find you?
You can find me here at Jack of All Trivia on Facebook, on YouTube, on our new Twitter and Instagram, on all our social medias. You can find us on there. On YouTube, always remember to like, comment, subscribe. Helps us get great content out just like this to you, the viewers. Follow us on Twitter and for any news, JOAT. And Instagram, follow us for any fun pictures we might put up there, like maybe Brooklyn out tonight. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe we'll see. If there's like a movie poster that I see, maybe I'll put it up on my comments. But yeah, I'm gonna echo everything that Tim said. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And now I can do my music plug. If you are in Morel, Prince Edward Island on St. Patrick's Day, you can find me at the Holy Cow Bar from 8 until 11. I'm going to be playing some tunes there. Be a good old jam. That'll be entertainment there all day. And it's exciting. It's my first gig in a little over a year. So I'm excited to get back into the swing of things. So for Chris, for Tim, for myself, cheers, guys. Once again, subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If you want a match, message us and we'll probably get you in as soon as we can. Cheers, guys. Peace out and drive safely.